November 2004. Los Angeles. Stage 19 at Warner Brothers. Hilary Swank stands in the center of a hospital bed set, her body frozen, her face pale. She has been preparing for this moment for 6 months, training like a professional boxer, losing weight, gaining muscle, living and breathing the character of Maggie Fitzgerald. But nothing prepared her for this. The scene they are about to film is the one nobody wants to talk about. The moment where everything Maggie fought for, everything she sacrificed, everything she believed in comes crashing down. The scene where a fighter realizes she will never fight again, never walk again, never be anything but a body in a bed. Clint Eastwood sits behind the monitor, his face unreadable. He is 74 years old. He has directed 23 films. He knows how to film violence, how to film death, how to film grief. But this is different. This is not death. This is something worse. This is the moment when someone realizes they would rather die than live like this. And he is asking Hilary Swank, a 30-year-old actress who has given everything to this role, to go to that place, to feel that despair, to embody that hopelessness, to show the world what it looks like when a human being breaks. The production has been intense from the beginning. Hilary trained for 4 months before filming started, 6 days a week, 4 hours a day, with a professional boxing trainer. She learned to move like a fighter, to think like a fighter, to carry herself with the confidence of someone who has spent their entire life proving people wrong. She gained 19 pounds of muscle, changed her diet completely, stopped seeing friends, stopped going out, just trained and studied and prepared. Because Maggie Fitzgerald was not just a character to her. Maggie was every person who had ever been told they were not good enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough. Every person who had fought against the world and won. And now Clint was asking her to show what happened when that person lost. The set is quiet. The crew has been working on this film for 8 weeks. They have watched Hilary transform. They have seen her dedication, her commitment, her refusal to take shortcuts. They respect her. They respect Clint. And they all know that what they are about to film will either make or break the movie. Morgan Freeman stands off to the side. He plays Scrap, Frankie Dunn's closest friend and the narrator of this story. He has been watching Hilary work. He has been watching Clint direct, and he knows something the rest of the crew does not know. He knows that Clint is worried, not about the technical aspects of the scene. Clint never worries about that. He has been making films for 40 years. He knows where to put the camera, how to light a scene, how to capture emotion. What worries him is Hilary. What worries him is asking someone to go to a place this dark and not knowing if they can come back. Method acting is a dangerous game. Clint has seen it destroy actors, seen them lose themselves in characters, seen them confuse fiction and reality until they do not know who they are anymore. And Hilary has been living as Maggie for 6 months. She has been carrying that weight, that determination, that hunger. And now Clint is asking her to carry something else. Defeat, despair, the kind of hopelessness that makes death seem merciful. The assistant director calls for quiet on set. The camera operators check their frames. The sound mixer does a final level check. Everything is ready, except Hilary. She is sitting on the edge of the hospital bed, staring at the floor. Her hands are shaking, not from fear, from something else, something deeper. She has been preparing for this scene for weeks, researching spinal injuries, talking to doctors, reading accounts from people who had lost their mobility, trying to understand what it would feel like to have your body become a prison. But all the research in the world cannot prepare you for the moment when you have to embody that reality. When you have to look into the camera and show an audience what it means to lose everything. Clint watches her. He does not call action yet. He just watches, and he sees something that concerns him. He sees an actress on the edge, not ready to perform, ready to break. He stands up slowly, walks over to the bed. The entire crew holds their breath. Clint never stops a scene before it starts. He trusts his actors. He gives them space. He lets them find their way. But something about this moment is different. Hilary. She looks up at him. Her eyes are red. She has been crying, not as Maggie, as herself. I do not know if I can do this. Clint sits down next to her. The crew pretends not to watch, but everyone is listening. Everyone knows this is important. Tell me what you are feeling. Hilary takes a breath. I have been living as this character for 6 months. I know who she is. I know what she wants. I know her dreams, her fears, everything. And now you are asking me to destroy her, to show her at her lowest point, to take everything she fought for and rip it away. And I do not know if I can do that without it destroying me too. Clint is quiet for a moment. He understands. This is not about acting. This is about protecting yourself from the darkness you are being asked to portray. Let me tell you something about Maggie Fitzgerald. She is the toughest person in this story, not because she can take a punch, not because she can fight, because she faces the truth. When everything falls apart, when there is no hope left, she does not run from it. She looks at it, she accepts it, and she makes a choice. That is courage, real courage, not pretending everything is fine, but acknowledging when it is not, and deciding what to do about it. What if I go too far? What if I cannot come back? Clint looks at her. Then I will bring you back. That is my job. You go as deep as you need to go. Show me the truth of this moment. Show me what it looks like when someone realizes their life as they knew it is over. And when we call cut, I will make sure you remember who you are. I will make sure you come back. You promise? I promise. They sit in silence for a moment. The crew is still pretending not to listen, but everyone has stopped moving. Everyone is waiting. Finally, Hilary nods. Okay, I am ready. Clint stands up, walks back to the monitor. He does not give her a pep talk, does not tell her she can do this, just trusts that she will. Because that is what great directors do. They trust their actors to find the truth. The assistant director calls for quiet. The cameras roll, and Hilary Swank becomes Maggie Fitzgerald one last time. The scene begins. Maggie is in the hospital bed. She has been there for weeks. The doctors have told her the truth. The injury to her spine is permanent. She will never walk again, never fight again, never be the person she worked her entire life to become. Clint plays Frankie Dunn, her trainer. He sits next to her bed. He has been there every day, watching her deteriorate, watching the light fade from her eyes, watching the strongest person he has ever known turn into someone he barely recognizes. And Hilary does not act. She does not perform. She just exists in that moment, in that hospital bed. As a woman who has lost everything, her face is blank, empty, not sad, not angry, just nothing, because that is what real despair looks like. Not tears or screaming, just emptiness, the absence of hope. She speaks quietly, too quietly. The sound mixer has to strain to pick up her words, but Clint does not call cut. He does not ask her to speak louder, because this is real. This is what someone sounds like when they have given up. Maggie asks Frankie to help her die, not dramatically, not with emotion, just a simple request. Like asking for a glass of water, because when you have nothing left to live for, death is not scary. It is mercy. The scene requires Clint to react, to show Frankie's horror, his refusal, his desperate attempt to convince Maggie to keep fighting. But Clint does not do any of that. Not yet. First, he just looks at her, really looks at her, and the camera captures it. The moment when a man realizes he is about to lose the person he loves most in the world. The silence stretches. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. The script only calls for 3 seconds of silence, but Clint lets it run, lets the audience sit with that discomfort, that unbearable reality. Finally, he speaks. As Frankie, as a man whose world is collapsing, I cannot do that. Hilary looks at him. Her eyes are dead, empty. Then I will find someone who can. Cut. The word hangs in the air. The crew is frozen. Nobody moves. Nobody breathes. Because what they just witnessed was not acting. It was something else, something raw and real and devastating. Hilary does not move. She is still in the bed, still in that place, still Maggie. Clint stands up, walks over to the bed, sits down next to her again, and he does not say anything. He just sits there, waiting, giving her time to come back. After a minute, Hilary blinks, looks around, sees the crew, sees the cameras, sees Clint, and slowly, very slowly, she comes back. I did it. Her voice is small, uncertain. You did more than that, Clint says quietly. You showed me something I have never seen before. You showed me the truth? Was it too much? Did I go too far? No. You went exactly where you needed to go, and you came back. That is all that matters. The crew breaks for lunch, but Hilary does not go to her trailer. She does not talk to anyone. She just walks off set, finds a quiet corner, and sits down. Morgan Freeman follows her. He does not ask if she is okay. He knows she is not. He just sits next to her. The way Clint sat next to her before the scene, that was the hardest thing I have ever done. I know. I do not know if I can do it again. We still have 3 more scenes in that hospital bed. Morgan looks at her. You do not have to do it again. Not like that. What you did today, that was the heart of it. Everything else is just aftermath, just echoes of that moment. But that moment, that was the truth. And you do not have to go back there. You already gave us everything we needed. Hilary nods. But she knows he is wrong. She knows she will have to go back there. Because that is what actors do. They go to impossible places, and they do it over and over until the story is told. The production continues for 3 more weeks. Every day, Hilary shows up. Every day, she goes to that dark place. And every day, Clint makes sure she comes back. Not with words, not with therapy, just by being there, by seeing her, by reminding her without saying it that she is not Maggie. She is Hilary. And Hilary is strong enough to carry this weight. On the last day of shooting, they filmed the final scene. The scene where Frankie makes the choice that Maggie asked him to make. The scene where he ends her suffering. It is brutal, quiet, devastating. And when it is over, when Clint calls cut for the last time, the entire crew stands in silence. Nobody knows what to say. Nobody knows how to process what they just witnessed. Because $1 Million Baby is not just a movie. It is a meditation on life and death and the choices we make when there are no good options. When doing the right thing means doing something terrible. Hilary stands up from the hospital bed. She looks at Clint, and she does not say, "Thank you." She does not say anything. She just looks at him, and he looks back. And in that look, there is understanding. There is respect. There is acknowledgement of what they just created together. $1 Million Baby wraps that day. The final cut is 132 minutes. It is quiet, unflinching, honest. It does not apologize for its darkness. It does not provide easy answers. It just shows the truth. The complicated, painful, beautiful truth. The film premieres in December 2004. Critics call it a masterpiece. Audiences are devastated. Some people walk out of theaters crying. Some people are angry. They feel betrayed by the ending. They wanted Maggie to win. They wanted a happy ending. They wanted the film to lie to them. But Clint does not lie. He never lies. He shows life as it is. Messy, unfair, heartbreaking, real. In February 2005, $1 Million Baby is nominated for 7 Academy Awards. At the ceremony, it wins 4. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress for Hilary Swank, Best Supporting Actor for Morgan Freeman. When Hilary accepts her Oscar, she thanks Clint. But what she says is not the typical acceptance speech. She does not thank him for the opportunity. She thanks him for protecting her, for keeping her safe while asking her to be unsafe, for making sure she came back. Later that night, at the after-party, a journalist asks Clint about directing Hilary in those hospital scenes, about asking an actor to go to such a dark place. Clint is quiet for a moment, then he says, "You do not ask someone to do something like that unless you are willing to go there with them. Directing is not about giving orders. It is about partnership. It is about trust. Hilary trusted me to keep her safe, and I did. That is all. But was not it risky? What if she could not handle it? Then we would have found another way. But I knew she could handle it, because I watched her prepare. I watched her train. I watched her transform. And I knew that anyone who could do that much work, who could give that much of themselves, was strong enough to go to the darkest place and come back. Years later, Hilary Swank gives an interview about her career. The interviewer asks her about her favorite role. She does not hesitate. Maggie Fitzgerald. Because that role taught me something I did not know about myself. It taught me that I am stronger than I thought, that I can go to places I am afraid of and survive. And that is because of Clint. Because he believed in me. Because he protected me. Because he showed me that vulnerability is not weakness. It is courage. What did Clint teach you about acting? He taught me that the truth is not always beautiful. Sometimes the truth is ugly. Sometimes it is painful. Sometimes it is unbearable. But it is always worth showing. Because when you show the truth, when you are brave enough to be vulnerable, you give other people permission to be vulnerable too. You show them they are not alone. You show them that suffering is part of being human, and that is the most important thing art can do. That is who Clint Eastwood is. Not the action hero, not the tough guy. The director who asks for truth, who creates safe spaces for actors to be unsafe, who understands that great art requires great risk, and who never asks someone to take that risk alone. On that soundstage in 2004, when Hilary Swank said she did not know if she could do the scene, Clint could have replaced her, could have cast someone else, could have taken the safe route. But he did not, because he saw something in her. He saw strength, he saw courage, he saw someone willing to break herself open for the sake of the story. And he protected that. He honored that. He made sure that when she broke, he was there to put her back together. That is not directing. That is not filmmaking. That is humanity. That is seeing someone as a person first and an actor second. That is understanding that what we ask artists to do is sometimes impossible. And our job is not to make it easier. Our job is to make sure they survive it. $1 Million Baby is a film about a fighter who loses everything. But it is also a film about a director who gave an actress permission to lose herself and promised to bring her back. And he kept that promise. Every single day, every single scene, every single moment. The legacy of that film is not just the Oscars or the box office or the critical acclaim. The legacy is what happened on that set. The trust, the partnership, the understanding that great art requires sacrifice, but that sacrifice should never be demanded. It should be offered, and it should be honored. When people talk about Clint Eastwood, they talk about his films, his characters, his style. But the people who worked with him talk about something else. They talk about safety. They talk about respect. They talk about a man who wielded enormous power and used it to protect the people who were vulnerable. On a hospital bed set in 2004, Hilary Swank went to the darkest place an actor can go. She showed the world what despair looks like, what hopelessness feels like, what it means to lose everything, and Clint Eastwood made sure that when she came back whole. That is not just great directing, that is great humanity, and that is why 20 years later, people still talk about $1 Million Baby, not just as a film, but as an experience, as a moment when an actress and a director created something so raw, so real, so true, that it changed everyone who saw it. Because sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is permission to break, and the promise that when they do, you will be there to catch them. That is Clint Eastwood. Silent, strong, steady, keeping his promises, protecting his people, making sure that when he asks them to go to hell for the sake of art, he goes with them and brings them back. If this story meant something to you, I would be grateful if you would consider subscribing. Not for me, for the stories, for the truth, for the quiet moments that change everything.